Well, welcome anyway, for those of you that are here. So I'm Louise Archer. I'm the founder and coach of Retrain Search. And we basically teach contingent recruiters how to win and deliver their work on a retained basis.
We're here today to talk to you about how to break down some of the biggest barriers that you're all going to face when trying to secure your work on a retained basis.
So just a little bit about me, for those of you that don't know us.
Back a slide.
Oh, sorry. I was a contingent recruiter for a long time before I transitioned to retained, about 13 years in total. So I understand completely the struggles that you face when you're working on that basis. I know what it's like to have fees fall out. I know what it's like to have uncommitted clients. I know how hard it is to run and grow a business when revenue forecasts are so unpredictable. Once I discovered how to move clients to retained, I first thought, why on earth did nobody teach me how to do it sooner? And then I went on to help Air Swift, the firm I was working for at the time, build their retained search function from scratch. That today sees over $12 million a year come from retained revenue. I then went on to work for one of the world's leading professional research firms and learn sophisticated projects like mapping, pipelining, and intelligence studies, and then went on to executive C-suite search and to learn professional methodologies at the executive level. I can tell you from first-hand experience, having been on that journey myself, that working in this way will elevate the relationships that you have with your clients. It will give you access to bigger fees, more enjoyable work, and senior projects. It will improve your skills in sales and delivery, but importantly, it produces guaranteed, forecastable revenue.
My name is Jordan Taylor. I'm a director and coach at Retrain Search. Many years ago, back in 2018, I was a fully contingent recruiter, experiencing all of the common frustrations that come with that model. I was working on a fastest finger first approach. I had no commitment from clients. I had candidates dropping out all over the place. In hindsight, I spent most of my days working for free. And then I learned how to transition my clients to retained. I graduated from the Retrain Search course, quadrupled my revenue, and never worked on a contingent basis again, going on to secure and deliver millions of pounds worth in retained projects. From senior vice presidents in California to managing directors in the UK, sales leaders across Europe, I used the tools, the knowledge, the confidence that I gained to build deeper and more meaningful partnerships with my clients across the globe. I spent a couple of years as part of our community, and then Louise convinced me to come on board full-time as a coach, and that was 3 years ago in December. So I'm really lucky to be able to help other people go on that same journey now. So I think it would help to look back at the current climate and the climate over the past few years. And the reality of it is we were spoilt by a really buoyant market for a couple of years after COVID, right? Everything went mad, people making up for lost time, recruiting like crazy. And us recruiters made hay while the sun was shining for a good 18 months or so. But last year we noticed a shift. There was a big change. The landscape flipped and it changed again. Lots of uncertainty for many, a drastic loss in revenue. Contingent recruiters really struggled. And what we found is people that hadn't had to do any business generation in the last 2 years, well, all of a sudden they needed to again. But not only did they need to, those old school contingent BD methods that always worked, they just weren't working as well anymore. And when they did get a job on, it was horrible. Uncommitted clients, loads of competition, counter offers all over the place. Many of them really struggled. But what we found was the retained recruiters that we spoke to flourished. They solved problems for customers that contingent model just wasn't solving. They forged deep and meaningful partnerships with clients and journeys for candidates. They really, really flourished. And so many of them that were winning on a retained basis in 2023 are doing the exact same thing in 2024. And we wanted to share some of these wins with you just to start with, to show you all that it is possible. That your peers, your colleagues, your competitors, they are out there winning retained business right now. And our aim today is to inspire all of you and to show you that you and your teams, you can do this too.
Yeah, so that's our mission really, to help break some of the barriers down that some people, I certainly had, before I was taught how to move to retained, and to give you as much help as we can over the next 25, 30 minutes or so. So, we teach the full retained sales process and how to secure the work on a retained basis and how to deliver it. But today, I just want to focus on what happens in the sales process once you've been sitting with a client and you've made the recommendation that you want to work with them on a retained basis. So we're taking it from the stage that you fully understood the client's challenges, their needs and their requirements, that you've given them a background into you, if they don't know you already, in your business, what you do and how you work given the circumstances. And you've made a recommendation that in this situation, a retained solution is the way to solve the challenge they're facing. You've then asked for the opportunity to show them or demonstrate the effectiveness of working in this way if they haven't worked this way before. What do they say at that point? Once you make that recommendation that retained is the solution that you want to go down, some of you are probably doing this already and facing some objections. Some of you might not have tried because in your mind you've kind of got those objections yourself. And that's often the biggest barrier to being able to make that recommendation because you're worried about what you're going to say when they ask you these questions. So we're going to run through a few of the most common objections that we face.
We are. So as someone who's done a lot of these pitches, I know the first and most likely question you're going to get asked, assuming the pitch has gone well, is how much does it cost? So Lou, how much does it cost? And you've talked about financial commitment. What do you mean exactly by that?
And just as a side note, when clients ask this, it's quite easy to think, oh, God, what am I going to say? And this is an objection, they're worried about the price. But actually, it's a really big buying signal. If this is the first question that you get, then that's because what you've said seems sensible and logical, and they just think it's probably going to be expensive, and they're ready to go, oh, we can't afford it. But normally it means that they think, okay, that sounds sensible. The way that I normally handle it, and there's lots of different ways to handle it, is to say, look, this service does carry a higher fee because it's more rigorous, it's more robust, it's more thorough, and importantly, it produces a guaranteed outcome. Not only that, but you will be certain at the end of this process that you're making your decision from all of the options that are available to you in the market at this time. And a contingent process won't put you in that situation. So yes, it normally carries a higher cost. However, in order to demonstrate the effectiveness of this way of working, I really want to make it easy to work together on this first project in this way. So for the first project, I want to make it at no additional cost, exactly the same as our standard contingent service, whatever that might be for you. 20% for some of you, 25%, whatever it is. Make it really easy. The only difference will be the payment model. It'll be broken into 3 stages. The first stage is paid on commencement of the assignment, the second on agreement of shortlist, and the balance on completion. And then just stop talking and see what they say. Sometimes that's a surprise. Okay, that sounds reasonable. And then the next objection comes, and we'll come on to that in a minute. Sometimes there's an objection around the commitment there. Oh, but that sounds like a lot before you've actually delivered anything. I'm concerned about that. Okay, let me remove that barrier then. Let's put the emphasis on the completion of the project. It'll just be for this first project because I really want to demonstrate the effectiveness of this way of working. Once you've worked in this way, you're not going to want to work any other way because it will make life easier for you, a better journey for the candidate, and actually will enjoy it much more too. So I really want to make it easy. So let's just have a first third payable on commencement and 2/3 payable on completion. Does that make you feel more comfortable? Will you let me demonstrate the effectiveness of working in this way just on this first project?
Nice.
Thanks.
Really good. Okay, you can do this one as well. What if I said all of the other agencies, Lou, they all, that we spoke to, they're all happy to work this on a contingent basis. Why should I pay you up front?
So to that I would say, look, if the way that they're working is working for you, then I don't think that you should do anything differently. You carry on. If you're getting what you want when you want it and it's a relatively enjoyable process, I don't want to interfere with that. Carry on doing it. What I won't do is just be another agency and muddy the waters and make life worse for everybody. So you carry on doing what you're doing. However, what you told me just a few moments ago was that you're frustrated with the volume of candidates not being there, or the quality of the candidates not coming through, or the fact that this position's still open and we're 3 months down the line. And that's the whole reason we're having this conversation. So this is the way to solve the challenges that you're facing. And I'd really like to demonstrate the effectiveness of working in this way just on this one project. Nice.
And that just highlights the importance of that diagnostic, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Before the pitch as well.
Exactly.
Like that objection is so difficult to handle without completing that diagnostic.
If you haven't got them to admit that they're not happy or comfortable, or it's not being productive the way they're working at the moment, it's much, much harder. And one of the things that I always say as a side note at this stage, I found it much more effective to step back from an objection like that rather than push into it. So rather than trying to sell into it, just say, okay, if they're all working contingently and you're happy with that, you carry on doing it. I don't want to interfere with it. I mean, I will say what you just said was that you're frustrated with X, Y, and Z, and that's why I'm here. So, but don't worry, if they don't want to buy it, that's cool. This isn't something you need to push on people.
Yeah. Because if they don't, they'll normally come back in 4 weeks anyway.
You say, okay, carry on doing what you're doing. Yeah. If you get stuck, you know where I am.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, we could talk about this all day and I'll try not to.
We come up against this one often. What if they said, Lou, we don't like putting a position with just one agency. We like to spread our coverage of the market, get more coverage. We work with a PSL. PSL.
Yeah. And I always have to like take a deep breath and like sit on my hands when a client says this, because there's huge misconceptions going on here because of all the things Jordan's just said. We get a better coverage of the market, you know, we're going to get better results. So I always say, right, look, it's no problem. Again, if that's working for you, I'd like you to carry on doing that. However, what you've said is that it isn't working for you and actually you're frustrated with X, Y, or Z. So I would just like to explain to you why that's happening at least, and then you can make an informed decision. When, as contingent recruiters, when we're working on a no-win, no-fee basis, we're basically always, all of us working on more than one position at a time. Normally 4, 5, 10, sometimes 15 some recruiters are working on. And we have to spread the risk and work on the positions that are most likely to generate a fee. So we're all grading or prioritizing those positions in some way. An A-grade job would be great company, sexy brand, great location, you know, maybe it's even exclusive, great salary. That's going to go to the top of our list because I'm most likely to generate. Anything a bit more difficult, niche skill set, awkward location, unknown brand, maybe lower salary, starts to go down the list of our priorities. And if there's more agencies working on it, guess what happens? It goes even further down the list of priorities. Clients usually make the mistake of thinking that by sharing it out between multiple agencies, they get a duplication of effort, when actually it's exactly the opposite of what happens. I'll explain that in exactly that way to a client so they understand.
Yeah.
And also...
Well, the problem with that is that when you see any given talent pool like an iceberg, and what I mean by that is 30% is above the water, you can see it. They're the active candidates. They're the ones that will respond to job boards. They'll respond to our LinkedIn messages. They'll answer our phone calls. 70% of every talent pool is passive. That's the iceberg beneath the water. Harder to reach. They don't respond to initial approaches. Now, because when we work on a contingent basis and competition is there, the emphasis is on speed. We just don't have the time to work that passive market in the way we want to. So what we do is we focus on the active candidates, right? And what that means is every time we work on that basis, we're missing out on roughly 2/3 of the talent pool. And think about the impression that that gives, though. Think about the impact that has, because every contingent agency, they all approach the same 30%. You end up looking like a house for sale with 10 for sale signs outside. What impression does it give people of your business, of that position? It's not good.
So what I would then explain is that what we need to, this position's niche, it's critical. You've already experienced that the contingent model isn't yielding the results that you're looking for, or hasn't in the past. Because of that, the impression that we make on every single candidate is so critical. We can't afford to duplicate the approach or downgrade the position in the eyes of the potential candidates. So instead of just sharing it out between multiple agencies, we need to carry out a well-planned, well-targeted search. I'd very much like to be the one to target the candidates that won't reply to an email, won't reply to a LinkedIn message, and aren't in that 30%. Whether it's me or whether it's someone else that you choose to work with in this way, this is the way that we're going to fill this position, not by continuing to spread it out between multiple agencies. And then I'd say, I'd really like to have the opportunity to demonstrate the effectiveness of this way of working. Will you let me do that on this position?
Nice close.
Oh, thanks. Okay, I think it's your turn now, isn't it?
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so we haven't needed to pay you up front before. Why have we got to do this all of a sudden now?
Yeah, and this is, it's almost kind of falling on your own sword in a way, because this comes when you've been a really good contingent recruiter. You've solved all the problems for them. I would say, firstly, Louise, you can play the client.
Okay.
Thank you. I'm really proud of our partnership. I'm really proud of the results that we've achieved together over the past few years, albeit on a contingent basis. The challenge that we face is the market it continues to change. right? And because of things like competition being more fierce than ever before for the highest caliber of talent, because of that talent being more resistive to move at the moment, because of things like an impending recession, it's getting harder and harder to achieve the level of results we have over the past few years. And that means we're needing to apply more time, more resource, more rigor into every single project. Whilst we're happy to keep doing that and we want to keep doing that, the challenge that we face is at the moment on a contingent basis, we're working completely at risk. Now, essentially some financial commitment from you, and let me reassure you, this is not an opportunity to make more money. The cost overall is exactly the same, but that financial commitment de-risks it and allows us to do what's needed to achieve what is such an important result on this project. All of the clients that we've transitioned to working with in this way, none of them have asked to go back to the old contingent method, and I would love to demonstrate that to you on this project too.
Nice.
Okay, what about this one? So I'm going to be hard on you, Lou. I'm going to say, bullshit. It's no different. Yeah?
Yeah.
You're just looking for money up front.
Yeah.
What's the difference in the process?
Yeah, and it depends whether in your explanation of what you want to do, you've actually gone through this, and it helps to do that because you avoid this objection. But it can be heavier when you're explaining it all if you incorporate this, and you might want to wait and then explain it when they ask you. And I would say, absolutely, I'd like to explain that. Basically, this is best practice headhunting. So it starts with a briefing session. All of the stakeholders will be involved in that session, and together we'll agree and define the parameters of the search and the process. So that will include the full role profile, the functional and behavioural competencies, the geography, the target companies and any off limits, and the process and the timeline for our search. Once we've agreed those parameters, we'll then go and cast a net over the talent pool and systematically identify all the candidates that look to meet the brief. And we'll then approach them by every means possible. And we'll bring them through an assessment process of functional and behavioural competency-based interviewing. The whole process is totally transparent. So we're going to be sharing with you every week our progress, all of the people we've identified, reached out to, if they're interested, if they're not interested, why they're not interested. And we'll collect whatever data is helpful for you too, whether that's salaries, benefits, bonuses, even perception of your business with this talent pool in the market. Ultimately, a long list is going to emerge of candidates who are what we call QIA. They're qualified against the brief, interested in the opportunity, and they've been assessed against that brief, both functionally and behaviourally. And between us, we'll then jointly agree, between 3 and 5 typically, for you to take to interview. Crucially, at the end of this process, you are going to be absolutely certain that you are making your hire from all of the options that are available to you in the market at this time. I'd really like the opportunity to show you how effective this way of working is. Will you let me demonstrate it on this assignment?
Yes, I will.
Thank you.
Please, any of you that are thinking that I'm going to win retained projects and deliver them contingently,
Yeah.
don't do that.
No, please don't. Okay, I think I'm taking this one too.
No, this is me.
Oh. Oh yeah. So yeah, I get what you're saying, but this isn't my decision. I'm going to need to run this by our MD and see what he says.
Cool. Yeah, I thought that might be the case. Exactly. Who is it? Sorry, Lou. Is it just,
Yeah, so
just the
that'll
MD?
be Richard Taylor. Yeah, he's going to need to make a call on this.
Cool. No problem. Here's what I'll do. I'm going to go away and I'll put a proposal together based on what we've discussed today. I'll include everything in that proposal, my understanding of the challenge you face and the result we're trying to achieve, my recommended solution to solve the problem, and I'm going to do something nice and interesting on the commercials for you as well. That's going to be ready on Thursday of this week, Lou. When are you and Richard free for me to walk you through it?
Nice.
Never send the proposal.
Never.
Yeah, it goes into a black hole. We've all been there. We sit there thinking, do we chase them? Do we not? Are they interested? Are they not? Always talk them through the proposal.
If you want access, by the way, on how to handle these objections, use the QR code. We've done a cheat sheet for you. You can download it, save it, keep it. It's yours. I don't know that we've given this away before.
Why is everyone taking pictures of us?
When I saw this in the deck, I was like, we're not giving this away, are we? And they were like, yeah, we are. Okay, right.
Yeah.
So yeah, yours, all yours. It's golden. I think it's on the screen again at the end if you need it.
No, it's a different one.
Oh, it's a different
QR
one.
codes everywhere. A few people with
Okay.
the phone still up.
All right, if you want it, we've got business cards with it on, so yeah.
Yeah, it's fine. Cool.
Okay.
Okay, what about this one then, Lee?
Yeah.
What if I said, I've had this so many times. Sounds good, I'll tell you what. I'll give it you exclusively instead. Let's kind of meet in the middle.
Yeah, I know that that seems like a meet in the middle and that seems like a sensible solution. The problem is I've been let down on that basis before. I've worked so hard for so long and put so much time and energy and resources into difficult, challenging, niche assignments, only to get many, many weeks down the line or several weeks down the line and something have changed or a decision not to actually go ahead and hire it after all. It's just too risky for me to put the kind of energy, resources, methods and processes in place that I know I need to do to make sure that we reach a result on this assignment. And I just don't want to set us up to fail on such a critical project. I am going to need some financial commitment from you in order to ensure that we reach an outcome on this project. Will you let me demonstrate the effectiveness of this way of working?
Nice.
Is that all right?
Yeah. You can do this one as well.
Okay.
Why can't you just send us some CVs? They're like, we'll just do what we've always done, right? It's worked. We just want you to send us some CVs.
So it's similar, really. I mean, it's so frustrating, though, if you've pitched and recommended this and this is what... there's something wrong with your recommendation if you end up with this. And actually, one of the guys that did our course recently has changed the close to say, if what you're looking for is someone to send CVs and hope that something sticks, then I'm not the right choice on this. Actually, if what you're looking for is a partner to commit to you and apply a thorough and rigorous process, then I absolutely want to be the one to do that. And he's eliminated this objection. And in your recommendation, you can eliminate all of these. You could encompass all of the answers, but you'd be there for an hour or so and it would be too boring. So you do have to kind of handle some of them in this way.
Yeah.
So I would just say, look, I know we've worked differently before and that's worked perfectly well, but the market is very, very different now and the landscape continues to change. At the moment, particularly in the US markets, people are more and more nervous of making a move at the moment. Everyone's just kind of sitting tight to wait and see what happens. So the time and the energy and the resources that I need to put into this, I just can't afford to set us up to fail on such a critical project. I'm going to need some financial commitment from you to make sure that we reach the result and overcome the challenges that we both know we're going to face. Will you let me work with you in this way?
Very good.
Yeah. Okay. I understand what you're saying, but I don't know you. This is the first time we've met. I just don't feel comfortable paying you in advance.
It's fair. Yeah, it's fair. And firstly, let me say, in time, I hope to become a trusted partner to you in the same way that I am to add name drop a competitor or someone they know or someone they recognize. But I understand that this is the first step on that journey to partnership for both of us. How about this? How about I work the first 2 weeks of the search on a completely reimbursable basis? If at any point during that first 2 weeks you're not happy, I'll reimburse that financial commitment, completely de-risking this for you. Would that make you feel more comfortable then?
I mean, yeah.
Yeah?
Sounds fair.
Me,
so
I think, yeah.
What happens when they start asking these questions, you know that like you're into the realms of them thinking, actually, this is sensible, it feels comfortable, this sounds logical, they sound comfortable, and it's just the mechanics and the nuts and bolts of how it's going to work, really. So they're not objections, they're just quick questions like, what happens if someone sends a CV in partway through?
Well, what I find, just to kind of give some context to this, is the two biggest concerns with this objection is they're thinking, A, what happens if the perfect candidate gets sent to us in 2 weeks and we're not allowed to interview them?
Yeah.
And they're also thinking about duplicate fees. So we really want to try and handle both of those concerns. So I would say, firstly, let me reassure you that the process we carry out is very similar to that of an executive search. And what I mean by that is we're going to be covering the entire market. We're going to be identifying all of the candidates within the geographical area that have the skill set to perform in this role. The challenge comes in that if you do accept a CV from another agency, you're going to be liable for a duplicate fee because we're going to find that candidate too and we're going to want paying, and the other agency are going to want paying too. So the easiest way to protect yourself against that is to let all of the other agencies know you've agreed to work on this on a retained basis, and therefore you won't be accepting any unsolicited CVs. If they still send one, which happens from time to time, feel free to share that with us. The good chance is they're on our list. If they're not, we'll find them. But if you don't feel comfortable doing that, don't worry, because we're going to find them anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a template as well. It's like a nice soft, because sometimes clients are a bit worried about breaking relationships with other recruiters. when they choose to go with one. And I always say, like, don't worry, it's not going to affect your relationship. There's just a really nice template that says, thank you so much for your effort or your thoughts on this. We're actually selected a partner to go down a different route. Please don't send us any unsolicited CVs for this position. And it's nice and gentle, and will keep you. And actually, sometimes it's a relief for the other agency to get that, because they've been kind of thinking, shit, I need to send CVs and I haven't got any. And they kind of go, oh, okay, I can put that down now. And then they think, oh, that sounds like someone's won that on a retained basis, and I probably should learn how to do that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we've already got some feelers out. This is quite common as well. So we've already advertised it. Our HR team have already had a look at it. What if someone comes like from our network as we're going through the search?
Yeah, I'd say fantastic. I want to encourage that. Known, referred candidates, they're typically more reliable because that reference is more reliable if it comes from somebody within our network, right? In the event that we do have an internal candidate or someone's referred to you, we're going to bring them into our process. We'll take them through the same process as all the other candidates, so it's comparable. And that means when we get to the point of making a hiring decision, you'll be absolutely confident you're hiring from all of the talent available to you at that time. The great news is that if it's ultimately your candidate that is chosen, selected, hired, they start with you, they're going to carry a slightly reduced fee because we've not had to find them ourselves.
What about this one, though?
I think
what if you don't fill it?
Yeah, this is my favourite objection, I think. So I would say, firstly, let me reassure you that the commitment here is absolutely mutual. The financial commitment from you, that allows me to commit in return in working with you until we reach a result. But we are dealing with people. So I can't guarantee you that the result we end up reaching is going to be the exact result we set out to achieve at the beginning in the briefing meeting. Maybe the skill set you want doesn't exist. Maybe it does exist, but they're just not interested in moving at the moment. Like, those things are outside of our control, unfortunately. But what's in our control and what I can guarantee is our process, and that it will be rigorous, it will be thorough, it will be transparent. We'll share with you the workings every step of the way. That means if we do need to re-steer the search, we'll make that decision on the direction of that re-steer based on all of that intelligence and data. And that means when we reach a result, which we absolutely will, you will be 100% confident that it is the best result available to you in the market at this time. I'd close by using something like probably my success rate. I'd say I have never failed on a retained basis. And if I thought there was any chance that I would fail this time round, I would not be recommending this is what we do. I would love to demonstrate that to you on this project.
Nice.
I hope that helps. We've been through a lot. We teach contingent and retained recruiters how to secure more of, if not all of their work on a retained basis. And we've been around the block. There's been nearly 1,500 companies been through this training now. Yeah. And that means we've had a lot of conversations. And any of you that are out there thinking we can't do this, I want to tell you that you can. Because what we've found is it doesn't matter what market you're operating in. It doesn't matter what country you're working in. It doesn't matter what salary levels you're working at. You can do it. One of the teams that did this training went from no retained revenue to over $500,000 in just 5 months. Another recruiter won their first retained project on a role with a basic salary of $500K. The fee was just over $90,000. And another, after just 6 months, is fully retained. Previously, they'd done no retained revenue at all. So you can absolutely do this. If I can do it, you guys can do it.
I mean, that's a bit harsh, but yeah, I think importantly, like so many consultants like me and like George, tell us that they were getting a bit disillusioned or a bit jaded or a bit kind of frustrated with recruitment in general before they learned how to transition to this way of working. And they talk about the benefits of working in like a real true partnership that's so much more rewarding, not just financially, but emotionally. And they're happier in their work than they ever have been before. Sometimes our approach has been described as taking the bullshit out of selling search, which I quite liked. It was very mysterious to me when I didn't know what it was, and I think lifting the lid on everything is a big part of that. So taking you back to what we were saying at the start, the people that moved to retained in part or all, and we're completely open about that, are at all levels, in all locations, some really not particularly senior, low to mid-level markets, but able to convert projects from a no-win, no-fee basis to some financial commitment on a retained basis and surprise themselves. So our message to you really is that whatever market you're operating in, it is possible. It is possible. And whether it's us or whether it's somebody else that helps you, then if you want to do it, we're kind of living proof that it's a really rewarding way to work. There's lots of people's stories. We like getting people's stories of where they've come from and where they go with it. So you can listen to them too and hear where they were and what market they're in and what level. And so have a little listen, head over to our website and have a little listen. If it just inspires you for where you can take your business.
Listen to our podcast too, because we do the same thing on the podcast. We have people on that have been on this journey that are now winning. Hopefully their stories can inspire you too.
So whether you're independent recruiter, whether you're a small business owner, whether you're part of a larger business, then we would love to have a chat with you. Completely open to what you want. You might just want some help, and that's fine too. We're very generous, we'll help you. So we've put a QR code here. You also, if you quote Rec Expo, I think we've given a little
discount, a little 10% discount.
Yeah, a nice little sweet little discount for you. If you do choose to work with us, then great. Otherwise, we're quite happy to just talk to you and chat to you and help you. So we're going to stick around, I think, for 20 minutes or so.
20, 30 minutes, yeah.
So if you want to chat to us, then we'd love to. Thank you very much.
Thank you.